Hi, Big Tractor Power fans. In this video, I would like to take you through a full cropping season on a Western Kentucky farm. This farm raises corn, winter wheat, and soybeans. In the video, we'll see all the different tractors, planters, sprayers, and combines used throughout the season to plant and harvest the crops. The planting season in Western Kentucky begins around the 10th of March with fertilizer application on the fields. This farm uses a 620 horsepower John Deere 9620RX articulated track tractor with a 60-foot wide Blue Jet toolbar to apply anhydrous ammonia to inject nitrogen fertilizer in the ground about 10 days before the corn seeds are planted. Corn is planted following soybeans in the cropping rotation in Western Kentucky. Here we can see a 345 horsepower John Deere 8345R tractor with a McFarlane harrow. The harrow smooths out the surface of the field following the Blue Jet that applied the anhydrous ammonia and incorporates the residue left over by the soybeans. This farm uses a pair of 60-foot wide John Deere DB60 planters to put its corn crop in the ground. These planters seed 24 rows of 30-inch space corn and 47 rows of 15-inch space beans. Here we can see the farm's 400 horsepower John Deere 8400R tractor planting the corn crop. Corn planting in Western Kentucky begins in mid-March and usually wraps up around the first week of April. By early April, the corn is beginning to grow, and the farm uses a 2,600-gallon Unverferth Nutramax applicator to apply liquid nitrogen to get the corn off to an improved start with additional fertilizer. This big side dresser is pulled by a 370 horsepower John Deere 8R370 tractor. Winter wheat is a major crop in Western Kentucky and requires 5 chemical applications to bring the crop through harvest, 2 nitrogen applications, 2 herbicide applications, and a fungicide application. This farm utilizes a pair of 310 horsepower, 1,000-gallon John Deere R4038 self-propelled sprayers equipped with 120-foot booms to complete all the applications on the farm throughout the season in winter wheat, corn, and soybeans. This R4038 is equipped with Soucy Tracks to allow the sprayer to meet the deadlines of the applications despite inclement weather. The spring is often very rainy, and that's what brings on the fungus that damages the wheat. Here we can see the sprayer cruising through a fairly muddy field while making sure that the crop will reach its full potential. The Western Kentucky winter wheat harvest begins in the first week of June. It's important to harvest the crop as quickly as possible because a second crop of soybeans is no-tilled into the winter wheat stubble right behind the combines. In order to move the harvest along quickly, this farm utilizes a fleet of John Deere S-Series combines, including Class 6, Class 8, and Class 9 machines to stay ahead of the soybean planters. Following right behind the 5 John Deere S-Series combines harvesting the wheat crop are a pair of John Deere DB60 planters. These 60-foot wide planters were used to plant the corn crop in March and now are no-tilling 47 rows of 15-inch spaced soybeans through the winter wheat stubble. Here we can see one of the DB60s pulled by the farm's 370 horsepower John Deere 8RX 370 tractor. Corn in western Kentucky begins to put on its tassels and ears right at the end of June as the winter wheat harvest is wrapping up. This farm utilizes their 400 horsepower, 1600 gallon Haige STS-16 sprayer equipped with a 120-foot boom and 74 inches of clearance to apply fungicide on the corn crop as it reaches its maximum height. Applying fungicide at this time makes sure that the ears of corn produce the maximum amount of bushels that it can when the crop is harvested in late August. Corn harvest begins in western Kentucky around the 20th of August. We can see the corn crop is ready to go. The leaves are still a little green because that fungicide application is doing its job in keeping the plant healthy. The farm is trying out a brand new John Deere X9 1100 combine. This machine is fitted with a 16-row folding corn head. It holds a total of 460 bushels of corn and unloads through a 31-foot auger at 5.3 bushels per second. It's powered by a 690 horsepower John Deere engine, and the machine can process over 7,000 bushels of corn an hour. Winter wheat follows corn in the cropping rotation in western Kentucky. Harvesting the corn crop as early and quickly as possible is important because winter wheat seeding begins on the 10th of October and runs throughout the month. This farm utilizes John Deere 1890 air drills and 1910 commodity carts to no-till their winter wheat crop over the standing corn stalks. You'll see the farm utilizing its 370 horsepower John Deere 8R370 tractor and 470 horsepower John Deere 9470 RX articulated track tractor to plant the wheat crop. October is a busy time on this Western Kentucky farm. Not only is the winter wheat crop being seeded, but the double crop soybeans that were planted in June are now ready for harvest. The second crop of soybeans are an important part of the Western Kentucky farm economy because it allows farms to raise two crops on one field in a single season. The double crop soybeans utilize the stubble and straw left by the wheat harvest in June to grow over the summer. The straw helps suppress weed growth and hold moisture in the ground so that the farm has a healthy crop of beans to harvest in October. This farm utilizes 400 bushel John Deere combines equipped with 40-foot wide John Deere draper heads to cut the double crop soybeans. The wheat straw still out in the field does not impact the harvest at all. The combine collects the beans and stores the grain in the grain bin and redistributes the soybean and wheat straw back out on the field as a residue to return nutrients back to the soil and hold the ground from erosion over the winter. Double crop soybeans lead to a lot of compaction in the field, with a total of 7 passes by the sprayers during the wheat and soybean growing season, 2 passes by the combines, and multiple passes by grain carts. The field becomes heavily compacted and it will limit the root growth of the corn crop next year. This farm utilizes John Deere 915 V-rippers and 2100 subsoilers to break up the compaction by running it about 18 inches deep to lift the soil while leaving the surface of the field undisturbed. Every big tractor on this Western Kentucky farm is used to subsoil to work up the ground as quickly as possible in the month of November before the winter weather sets in. Here we can see the 9620RX, the 8RX 370, and the 9470RX all working on fall tillage. I hope you've enjoyed spending time out in the field, hearing and seeing all this big John Deere farm equipment at work from spring planting through fall harvest and tillage on this Western Kentucky farm. I'd like to hear in the comment section below what your favorite piece of farm machinery was in the video. If you're curious about the yields of crops in Western Kentucky, typically winter wheat will yield between 90 and 100 bushels an acre. Corn will yield 220 to 230 bushels an acre, and the double crop soybeans will yield 60 to 65 bushels an acre. If you've enjoyed the video, consider subscribing to Big Tractor Power YouTube, where there are over 2,000 videos of farm machines in action. As always, thank you for watching.